It's April 9th, 1963. Somewhere beneath the Atlantic Ocean, 220 miles east of Cape Cod, a billion-dollar engineering marvel is about to vanish. Not in a blaze of glory, not in battle, but because of something so small, so insignificant that nobody, not even the greatest engineers in America, saw it coming. A single faulty weld, one tiny pipe joint, and 129 souls about to disappear into the deepest darkness the ocean has to offer. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into the deadliest submarine disaster in American history, the USS Thresher. On April 9, 1963, USS Thresher, the lead nuclear-powered attack submarine of her class, was conducting deep-diving tests about 220 miles east of Cape Cod, Massachusetts. This wasn't just any submarine. This was a behemoth, built to hunt and destroy hostile enemy submarines during the height of the Cold War. She clocked in at 278 feet in length, displacing 4,369 tons underwater. She could charge ahead at speeds of up to 30 knots while submerged, faster than a speeding car on the highway, yet she was simultaneously the quietest submarine of her time. Imagine that. A machine so advanced, so engineered to perfection, that she could slip through enemy waters undetected, strike without warning. The Navy was proud. The crew was confident. Nobody expected what was about to happen. During the exercises that morning, Thresher dove slowly in a circular pattern beneath USS Skylark, a Penguin-class submarine rescue ship positioned directly overhead. The Skylark was Thresher's guardian angel that day, or so everyone thought. Thresher maintained continuous communications and made scheduled stops approximately every 100 feet to check the integrity of her systems. Sonar pings, pressure readings, engine checks, everything was protocol. Everything was safe. Everything was normal. But when Thresher reached her intended test depth of 1,300 feet, deeper than most submarines dared go in those days, things began to go awry. The captain sent a message, experiencing minor difficulties. Attempting to blow ballast. Minor difficulties. Those were the last words USS Thresher would ever transmit. Sonar technicians aboard the Skylark heard it clearly. A faint, mysterious air-rushing noise coming from the depths below. Then silence. An endless, suffocating silence. They waited for the submarine to surface. Minutes passed. 10 minutes. 30 minutes. Nothing. The sub never surfaced. Days later, the U.S. Navy launched an extensive search and rescue operation, deploying every resource at their disposal. The bathyscaphe Trieste descended to depths previously uncharted, searching the ocean floor. What they found shattered every illusion of submarine invulnerability. The USS Thresher lay in 6 pieces on the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean, at a crushing depth of 8,400 feet. All 129 personnel on board, 112 crew members and 17 civilian contractors, were dead. Every single one. It remains the deadliest submarine accident in U.S. history. Imagine being a family member receiving that phone call. Imagine the Navy officer at your door, hat in hand, delivering news that your father, your son, your husband, was never coming home. Not from battle. Not from sabotage. Not from anything heroic. From a single weld. For decades, people theorized about what happened. Was it Soviet sabotage? A nuclear meltdown? Did the Soviets secretly attack the sub? Wild theories circulated. Some blamed Thresher's faulty welds that failed under extreme pressure, shorting out the submarine's critical electrical systems and draining all power. Others whispered about classified military secrets, government cover-ups, technology so advanced that the truth had to be hidden. However, a trove of recently declassified files detailing the 1963 sinking reveals something far more complex. There was no single event, no single error, no smoking gun. Instead, there was a perfect storm, a cascade of failures, decisions, and human limitations that conspired to doom 129 people in seconds. For decades, the Navy's investigation into the sinking remained classified, locked away in vaults, hidden from public scrutiny. Critics charged that the Navy was covering something up, hiding some dark secret about submarine vulnerability. But in 2019, a retired U.S. submarine commander named James Bryant, who himself had commanded 3 Thresher-class ships, sued the Navy, demanding the truth be released. He wanted the world to know what really happened. In 2020, a federal judge agreed with Bryant. The Navy was ordered to declassify 3,600 pages of investigation documents. What emerged was shocking in its complexity. There was no cover-up. There was simply the truth, raw, uncomfortable, and deeply revealing about how engineering, human error, and organizational pressure created a disaster. The Navy officially said that improperly welded piping ruptured on board the ship, causing a seawater leak that eventually shorted out the ship's electrical system. The crew was unable to reach the flooded compartments in time to stop the cascade. The ballast tanks, designed to blow the sub back to the surface in emergencies, failed to function properly. But naval historian Norman Friedman believed inadequate crew training exacerbated these problems. The crew, confident in their systems, was unprepared to respond quickly enough to save the ship. Bryant and other naval experts studying the declassified files discovered that several factors, not just one but many, all came together to create a perfect storm of failure. According to a panel of expert investigators, the Navy was rushing to get Thresher into the fleet. Why? Because a new, advanced class of Soviet nuclear submarines was emerging, and the U.S. couldn't afford to fall behind in the arms race. The expansion of the submarine fleet created an unprecedented demand for submarine-trained crews. Sailors and officers were going to see inadequately trained, pushed to operational readiness before they were truly ready. Worse still, the crews themselves had developed an overconfidence in their systems. Many believed it was literally impossible for a nuclear-powered submarine to lose power, that the reactor, the engineering, the redundant systems would always provide escape. But they were wrong. The piping system aboard Thresher used silver-brazed joints, connections welded together during construction. These weren't just any welds. They were critical connections carrying seawater at thousands of pounds per square inch. One of these joints, somewhere in the darkness of the engine room, had a flaw, a microscopic crack, a weak point, a manufacturing defect that should never have passed inspection. When Thresher dove deeper, the pressure increased. The flaw expanded. Seawater began to spray into the engine room, cold salt water at crushing pressure, misting across electrical panels, shorting circuits, killing power. The reactor SCRAM'd, automatically shut down as a safety measure. The engines died. Thresher was powerless. The crew, in a panic, attempted to blow the ballast tanks, compressed air designed to force water out of the tanks and provide buoyancy to surface. But the compressed air system had accumulated moisture. At the depths Thresher had reached, that moisture froze solid, ice blocking the very pipes designed to save their lives. Ballast tanks remained flooded. Thresher continued to descend, passing through her crushed depth, the pressure limit beyond which a submarine's hull cannot survive. At 8,400 feet, the hull imploded in an instant, killing all 129 people aboard so quickly they had no time to realize it was happening. But let me personalize this for you. These weren't just statistics. These were 129 human beings. Fathers, sons, brothers, husbands. Engineers who believed in their work. Sailors who trusted in their systems. Civilians who wanted to contribute to their nation's defense. They died, not in some noble sacrifice, not in a battle against a known enemy, but because of engineering oversights, rushing, overconfidence, and a single faulty weld that slipped past inspection. Their families waited. Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into years. Some families never had closure, never recovered remains, never knew exactly how their loved ones died. Only that they died in the dark, in the cold, in the pressure. This is what engineering failures cost. Not just money, not just national pride, but human lives. Irreplaceable, precious human lives. But USS Thresher's tragedy didn't end with the loss of 129 souls. It sparked a revolution in submarine safety that rippled across the entire defense industry. The Navy was forced to confront uncomfortable truths. That nuclear submarines could lose power, that crews needed better training, that engineering couldn't rely on luck or overconfidence. Combined with the loss of USS Scorpion in 1968, another nuclear submarine that disappeared under mysterious circumstances, the Navy created something revolutionary, SUBSAFE. This specialized agency was tasked with overseeing every aspect of submarine design and construction. Every pipe, every weld, every component. The goal was simple but audacious. Ensure that submarines could surface and escape even under the most dire circumstances. Rear Admiral Scott Papano, speaking in 2023, said it best. That was very much an eye-opener for the submarine community. A devastating accident that forced us to really take a hard look at what we were doing and how we were designing, building, and sustaining submarines going forward. Since SUBSAFE was established following Thresher's loss, the U.S. Navy has not lost a single submarine to accident or engineering failure. Think about that. 50-plus years. Dozens of submarines. Countless dives to crushing depths. 0 losses. That's not coincidence. That's the direct result of 129 people dying so that future generations would survive. As for James Bryant, the retired commander who fought for the declassification of the documents, he says the release of the files was a good thing for the Navy. For decades, critics charged that keeping the Thresher investigation secret was part of a massive cover-up. Evidence that the Navy had something to hide about submarine technology or operations. But the declassified files made one thing crystal clear. There was no cover-up. The Navy kept the files secret for a legitimate reason, to prevent operational details of U.S. nuclear submarines from being released and potentially benefiting adversaries. When the truth finally emerged, it showed not a conspiracy, but a tragedy born from human limitation, organizational pressure, and engineering oversight. Government transparency, when it finally came, validated the truth and honored the memory of the fallen. The loss of USS Thresher teaches us something profound. Perfection is an illusion. Even the most advanced technology, designed by the brightest minds, built with the finest materials, can fail because of something so small, so overlooked, that we never see it coming. That's why I make these documentaries, to tell the stories that matter, the lessons that save lives, the tragedies that changed history. If this video has impacted you, if it's made you think about engineering, about safety, about the price of progress, then please like this video. Subscribe to the channel to ensure you never miss a story like this. And in the comments below, tell me, what aspect of the Thresher disaster shocked you most? Was it the technical failure? The human cost? The overconfidence of the crew? Your comments matter. They help me create better content, and they help ensure these stories reach people who need to hear them. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.